Alright, welcome to another episode of World by Night Vamp Edition. This is one of the side sessions. This is involving one of the coterie members, Roderick. This will be right after what happened during the actual gaming session with the whole group. We're going to start from there. And if this happens to have to go over several days, not a big deal. We'll just say that's what happens in the background. So, when he's not busy running around with the group. So, Roderick, you guys just learned all the information you did in that session. Basically, well, you learned some information. You realized that the coup who is being run by miscellaneous other kindred, they're infernalists. You ended up killing them, but you do know that they have some kind of connection to an FBI agent, Agent Giles. They obviously do because they weren't, kept in the FBI building for very long. Daniel did let you know that, yes, they are in fact working with a demon. The only good news is that supposedly Daniel has the demon busy doing other things right now, so he's not the problem, as Daniel put it. The rest of the coterie, the ones that at least seem to have been here a while, seem to take things pretty well in stride, considering the fact that this dude just randomly appeared out of nowhere to tell you this. The fact that he knew about the FBI watching the place when you guys were standing there and didn't seem to notice it until we pointed it out. This Dano guy just definitely seems really weird to you. I mean, he didn't seem to be threatening in any way. He just unique because he seemed to have a perspective that nobody else seemed to have. He seemed not to be worried about anything that's going on.
Yes, which is
So,
a little unsettling.
yeah, especially for an Asimite, that makes things a lot unsettling. Okay, so what do you do next?
Well, first thing I'm going to do upon returning to my private haven,
Okay.
um, just before morning, publish a quick article, if you will, on a number of different forums. Roderick's a conspiracy theorist,
Yeah, okay.
so under his pen name, he will post a couple of different articles talking about the FBI being a shadow puppet um, and harassing local business employees.
Awesome. That's awesome.
Um, Not any specific details. He'll keep it somewhat generic. He doesn't want to entangle his new employer by bringing Dante or the business itself in.
Understood.
Um, and he won't doesn't want to make a target of himself either by mentioning Giles by name. But he keeps enough detail that it's believable, that people who know what they're looking for would see it.
Okay.
Um, so obviously anyone in the group who might stumble on it would recognize it. Anyone else who maybe has a clue.
Well,
And
that's why I
he's
always
going to get
ask
that.
if they're paying attention to everything that's going on around them, world news, stuff like that, because stuff like that pops up.
So he's going to publish that as his last thing before he goes to bed.
Okay. You go to bed, you spend your night, spend your day, more specifically.
Right.
The night dawns, and you awaken. Um, you, of course, got a bunch of responses to the articles. There's one that says uh, the email is a very, odd return email. It's like nothing you've ever seen. It comes from a website that doesn't even sound like it exists. Um, it's just it's titled from the subject is from the keeper.
Okay.
Um, all it says is quite some interesting articles you have. I've been keeping a track of a lot of your goings on. You seem to be more in the know than you're letting on. Don't worry, you have nothing to fear from me. I make sure that things don't, how do I put this, get out of hand, and that not too many of the humans know too much.
Okay.
Other than that, you get a bunch of typical responses, which you expect from all the various articles you publish and stuff like that. All the other conspiracy theories. Oh, I knew it. I knew the government was working with some shady organization. Blah blah blah. Yeah, yeah. All the loonies come out of the woodworks,
Yep.
but sometimes these loonies have given you good information that you didn't even really think of.
Yeah, they
Not
offer a different
necessarily
perspective.
conspiracy theory. Yeah, it's not necessarily a conspiracy if they know it's going. But what do you do?
I need to. My next step is going to be reach out to some of the other Asmites of the area. I'm not real familiar with a lot of them, so I need to see what perspective they might have on the situation. If there's, I assume they have some sort of embassy or enclave.
Oh yeah, they have their version of the Eagle's Nest, which they're calling the Hawk's Nest, located in D.C. Just mainly because it's a stronghold. Um, I don't know how much you know about Assamites, but the Eagle's Nest is like the Assamite training ground. It's over in the Middle
Right.
East, and yeah. So they have the
So
Hawk's
this
Nest
is kind of
there,
their local
which is
division.
yeah, basically it's their branch. It's the East Coast branch. They have a osprey nest over on the West Coast. Let's see. Your rules. Okay. Don't worry, that's just stuff for my information. Um. Okay, you put the word out to the other Assamites. Um. How long do you spend at your place before you decide to go out?
Um, Probably no more than an hour, just enough to quick review, see if there's anything useful in my responses, and then I'll head out.
Okay. There are a couple of people. A couple of your responses tend to agree. They think there's something more at foot. Most of them tend to warn you just to be careful. Uncovering, stuff like this can be hazardous to your health. The typical responses you tend to give
Right.
touch on actual information that most people don't know. So I mean, the natural, you do have a following of people who have paid attention to everything you write and they've responded to everything, and they're always trying to look out for your welfare because they think that you may one day uncover the wrong thing and they'll never hear from you again, kind of thing. Um, they definitely appreciate you putting the truth out there and not bowing down to the to the greater powers that be. So other than that, nothing. Sometimes when you put things out to the Assamites, it takes a while to get a response. Um, so I mean, you could have anywhere between days. It could be within minutes. It's hard to tell. But usually, you know that if they need to find you, they usually can. So I mean, so that way you don't have to sit at your house the whole time.
Yep. And then I did want to visit his mentor,
Okay.
which would be his sire, an Asmite sorcerer, to see if he's knows anything about a Tremere who might have premonitions and ways of seeing where we can't. One who's recently arrived in the city.
The most he will tell you is that he has heard of this Tremere. He doesn't know anything about him, and since he has heard that this Tremere does have unique powers, that his premonitions have almost always come true. There was only one or two times it hasn't. Other than that, he has a pretty good track record with his premonitions, which of course naturally immediately appealed to the Asmites. Knowing that kind of information is always handy. But your sire more specifically, because you guys are sorcerers, so you guys are more focused on. That's definitely something, it's not a common gift, but it's not extremely rare. It's just usually they don't have it. Most of the people who get like that kind of sight as a kindred don't get it that well. Don't get, they don't have a practically 98%, success rate with their premonitions.
Right.
So he has definitely drawn their attention. They're trying to get more information, but him being a Tremere naturally makes things a little harder because the Tremere have always been secretive about everything. So he does say he is looking into it. Um, he does say he is also investigating your other, as he put it, your makeshift coterie members for now. He wants more information. He knows a little bit about the Giovanna Agrippa, the primogen for the Malkavians. Um, he's aware of a little bit of her history, not a lot, but he knows enough about her that he believes she wants to do what's right, but she he also believes she has no idea that what she's doing is not helping. Actually, he says what you guys are doing right now is not accomplishing anything, and he's making you think you guys are accomplishing something, yet you're really not.
Just stalling us and distracting us.
Yeah, he definitely thinks that this is all just for show. He doesn't know whether it's the political aspect within the kindred, which is not surprising at all. But he looks at you. He goes, "Something just doesn't seem right about this whole situation. Um, we're well aware of Cash and everything about him. We knew about him. We knew about his child, Dante. But the person portraying himself as Dante, I don't think it is. We're hearing whispers from other clans all agreeing the same thing. They don't think it is. They're starting to question who this guy really is and has he managed to persuade those closest to him. Um, your sire looks at you. I would seriously, definitely keep an eye on him a bit more. There's something off. No one's been able to exactly pinpoint what it is, but for lack of a better term, he's not acting like he should. He's not
He did.
acting like Cash's child.
He did seem remarkably well informed on the Infernalists as well.
Yeah, see, and him getting this information so quickly and being able to give it to you, it just doesn't. That's what really concerns us is the fact that, I mean, we're good at getting information, but damn, we've never been that quick. And he just seems to kind of send you guys in blindly, and you guys, I don't know how, but you guys manage to just luck out. And, at least with the one instance so far, you guys have managed to luck out and not get caught in the middle of it all.
Well, I did encourage discretion among the group while we carried it out, but it was still a messy operation.
Yeah, usually they're a little more controlled than that. It just seems like everybody's kind of off their game right now. I don't know if maybe it's just a weird thing going around. I don't know. But, well, and then when you got a Malkavian who's there, it's just weird to begin with. But we will dig up as much information as we can on the others, just so you have a better idea who you can trust, who you can't. I would say for now, not to distrust the coterie, but I wouldn't say, follow them blindly. I would definitely say, definitely be way more alert about your surroundings, and about the people that are around you. Um, Dante's our biggest concern, but right now nobody can prove anything, so nothing's going to be done. We need solid proof that that he's not who he says he is, and then we can assist the others. Hold on a sec, I'll be right back. Sorry.
I assume you're welcome to chime in while we're on hold, Magnus, if you would like.
Alright, sorry about that. Sorry. We live in an apartment building, and our cat gets a little too curious. He tends to run out. He won't listen to his mother. He only listens to me. So
Yeah.
I had to run and chase him, get him back in the apartment. I was mad. um, yeah, your sire looks at you. As much as I wanted you here in DC, I kind of feel bad because I feel like I kind of feel like I kind of threw you into a situation that may be detrimental to your continued existence.
Well, it's a necessary risk for the clan as well as for the city, so I'm willing to take the chance, although I will be on my guard.
Good, good. I don't want anything bad to happen to you. I mean, it's not just because we spent all this time and energy, training you and getting you up to speed. It's because you're my child, and, I want to see you excel and see you advance more. You so just watch yourself. I would say just go about things as normal. Just kind of keep a closer eye on some of your coterie members. Start, kind of feeling them out for yourself. See which ones you think you can trust, more. See if they uncover some things. I mean, because you don't know what they're doing right now. They may very well be out, hearing the same information we're hearing. Because I guarantee, I mean, yeah, we practically have our ears everywhere, but for us to hear from so many angles, it's got to be out there. So I can only assume, other clans are starting to be suspicious of the power structure here.
Yes, I also feel it's appropriate to monitor the actions of Dante's so-called Justicars, his enforcers.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if he is distracting them and sending them on side errands. That seems suspicious to me, that he would use such potent tools for such minor issues.
Yeah, and that's kind of what really set us off, is the fact that you have Justicars, yet you're using them for basically a fishing expedition, is what it seems like to us. Because I mean, if he knew where all this information, if he knew where these people were, why didn't he just send others out to do it? I mean, he has the entire clan Gangrel, he has the Gangrel and the Brewhog, who are both excellent hunters and trackers that could easily get this information without having to put his forerunners into the, without lack of a better term, his generals into the battle. It just doesn't make sense.
Well, and I would assume the cost of the contract to hire us for some minor infernalists wouldn't have been that severe, and certainly well within our capabilities to track them down. I personally followed them the majority of the way.
Yeah, and that's what I don't get. I mean, he's just, something doesn't seem right about it. Like I said, I mean, it just seems like he's going to extra means basically to kind of keep everybody distracted. Keep their focus not on him but on what's going on in the city, and that's what bothers us. Is because usually when people are doing that, it means they're not doing. They have ulterior motives. Now, admittingly, within kindred society, that's a normal thing, but
Well,
to this extent, and putting Justicars into situations that they're not needed and everything else. I mean, the supposed coup that's going on, I don't know. I'm starting to believe that's not really anything at all. I'm really honestly thinking it's a way to keep everybody focused on, that.
looking out.
Yeah, looking out rather than looking in. Usually when that's going on, that usually means that there's something bigger being planned that they're trying to keep out of eyesight.
Well, it was quite unusual to me that a mortal agency such as the FBI would take these infernalists into custody and then release them shortly after.
Well, we've known for a long time each of the federal government branches has their own World of Darkness investigation. Um, as much as everybody within the World of Darkness has tried to keep things hidden, it just was bound to happen that someone would eventually know, and rather than, attempt to expose us to the world and fail, easier to keep track of us. The FBI was the first ones to actually start the program, It's their Special Affairs Division, which this Agent Giles actually controls. Um, he's the head of that right now. That's what scares us, is because having a human in charge is one thing, but having another kindred, which we can pretty much confirm, he's got to be the kindred. Having a kindred in charge of it can be dangerous. It puts us too much in public. It puts the kindred society as a whole too much into the public light, so to speak.
Yes, certainly a name and a face that's publicly recognizable is a liability.
More so, how he's managed to keep his true nature hidden is beyond me, but I'm sure he has means. I mean, we've had a few people within the within their various branches, but no one's ever gotten to that kind of status and had that kind of power. So something's definitely not right there.
My other concern is if he's a kindred, what capabilities he has and how he has functioned this long completely independently. He's obviously not affiliating openly, at least, with any clan of any
Yeah,
side.
we're pretty sure he's kindred. We don't know what side, for lack of a better term, or what clan he's with. We're trying to find out, but you know,
And the
it's
fact
not
that he's
easy.
kept that connection that quiet is another
Yeah.
concern.
Oh yeah. Definitely another worry of ours. Um, there are a few people we can contact to try and get some information from. Um, we have rumors, and maybe you can check it out since it's going to be on your way if you go to the box anytime tonight. Um, there are rumors of a bookstore that seems to have an extreme amount of knowledge about things, yet they seem to fly under the radar. I mean, they haven't appeared on anyone's radar, so to speak. You know, no one ever notices them. They're a small bookstore. It looks like one of those little mom and pop shops that set up and just somehow has managed to survive against all these other big corporations.
Well, that may be
Um,
how they stayed under the radar, too. Certainly,
yeah.
my publicity is, well, what drew you and the
Mm-hmm.
Premier and everyone else to me in the first place.
Yeah.
So, maybe perhaps by saying small and more anonymous, that has aided them in survival.
But the rumors are that the owner of this bookstore has to have ties to the World of Darkness in one way or another. We haven't confirmed yet, and we haven't sent anybody in. Um, so if you'd like to make a stop over there, we would greatly appreciate it to give us some more insight, maybe be able to figure out who this person is, what kind of ties do they have, are they kindred, are they a mage, are they one of the other members of the World of Darkness, are they shifters? I mean, we would like to know something. Um, but they've been
Certainly.
very secretive about it. The only time we did send one person in, but they only met the human who is one of, obviously, his associates. Apparently, he was indisposed at the time, so couldn't talk.
Certainly, I can investigate the fact.
Okay, it's a little place called the Arcane Bookstore. He gives you an address, mainly because I haven't thought of one yet. Um, gives you an address. When you think of the address, as you imagine, because I'm sure you do, as you imagine the city kind of laid out in Kindred style, that pretty much puts him at the center of the World of Darkness, right, and the Kindred Society as a whole. It
Interesting.
puts him in prime real estate. How he got it would be impressive. It takes a lot to get real estate, you know. And he's only, a couple blocks from the White House, which makes it even more impressive. Is that, White House is kind of an off area for Kindred. Nobody likes to go near that area because it's too close to public eye. But this one seems to have a little business, hop, skip, and a jump from, center of, the government for the United States.
Well, I will certainly investigate that. I was actually headed to the Vox next.
Good. It should be on your way. Um, I don't think any scare tactics are necessary or any terrifying ways. Um, Person, from what we've heard, he doesn't seem to be a threat in any way. I mean, he knows a lot about about the Kindred Society and the World of Darkness as a whole, but he hasn't gone on record. We've checked to see if he's if there's any nom de plumes he's using to hide who he is. There's nothing. I mean, other than him running this bookstore and him living here, that's about all we know about him. So naturally, that has our curiosity piqued. Everybody has some dirty secrets. This guy seems to have none, but he seems to know everything.
Well, I'll look into it.
All right, well, just take care and keep an eye out. So,
I will thank him for his time, and then I'm going to actually stop back at my haven before I head to the bookstore.
okay.
I'm going to change into a little more of street clothes.
Okay.
I'm also going to grab a case of my latest book, and
Okay.
as well as a couple of business cards with my pen name on and such, and
Okay.
head to this bookstore.
Good idea.
Um,
Okay. You get to this little bookstore. It's exactly as it said. It looks like a little mom and pop shop. I mean, it's a nice little building. It's maintained pretty well. I mean, even some of the buildings around it seem to have you know weathered and aged. Of course, with time. I mean, they're not slums, but they're not high class. This seems to be kind of right in the middle. It's obviously well maintained, taken care of. Um, as you look at it from the outside, you just see a small little window, which shows some bookshelves. Naturally, a couple of little tables and stuff where people, you see a few people sitting, drinking some coffee, and reading. Um, Other than that, nothing really sets it off. You see the name of the bookstore is the Arcane Bookstore. Unusual name, but got to have
well,
some kind of unusual tricks.
yeah, to
Anything to
survive in DC, they had to have some sort of hook.
hmm
Um, I will grab. I'll take just one copy to start with of my book,
Okay.
um, and I'll head inside towards the
Okay.
counter.
As soon as you walk in, you hear a little, bell, ding ding. You see about an 18-year-old female. Crap, I can't remember what I named her. Um, I'll change her name like 10 times, I'm sure. Um, we'll call her Susan for now. She, got a little name tag, so Susan. Um, Hi, how can I help you?
I will inform her that I'm Jason Vane. Was curious if they'd heard of any of my works, were interested in carrying any of them.
Um, Honestly, I just kind of work here. Let me see if the boss is in. Maybe he can talk to you. He does all the purchases and stuff, and tends to try and keep some of the newer books on stock. So let me wait right here one moment.
That would
Uh,
be fantastic.
she walks off into the back.
Are there any? You said there's a couple of customers in here having coffee and stuff,
Yeah, I mean, you see like a little coffee setup. I mean,
right? Couches or whatever.
yeah, couches. People just sitting, reading. Just it's a nice, quiet atmosphere. No music playing or anything, but just a nice, quiet atmosphere. It's comfortable in here. It's not too hot, not too cold. Seems it keeps, at least maintains the place pretty well.
Okay.
But it's not all cluttered. It's not overbearing. It's not, hey, look, I'm a bookstore kind of thing. It looks more just like a little relaxation.
Library lounge type
Yeah, it's,
environment. Okay.
so I mean, it does definitely give you that warm, welcoming, inviting feeling. A few minutes later, you see a gentleman come out with Susan. Um, he looks to be probably mid to late 30s. Um, he's dressed in a black trench coat. He's got a black T-shirt that says, um, oh, what the hell? It's a black Metallica T-shirt. He's got black jeans on. He's got normal boots. His hair is all slicked back and pulled into a ponytail. It's raven black. Um, his eyes are the one that seems to kind of set him off a little bit. They're they were blue, but you can see like like just on the outskirts, it looks like it's kind of surrounded by like a reddish tinge.
Okay.
Yes, sir. How can I help you?
I'm Jason Vane, a local author, and I was curious if you'd had the opportunity to see any of my books. I was actually on my way to another stop, saw your store, and was intrigued. I didn't realize we had many small, locally owned shops in the area.
Believe me, there aren't many actually. Me and I think two other places are the only ones that actually survived the Walton Books Borders, conglomeration attacking. And they keep coming in all the time trying to buy stuff, buy the store so they can sell us out, buy us out. Um, I have heard of your books. I haven't actually got a chance to read them. Unfortunately, I'm always looking for others, but I never turn down, putting other authors out there and giving them a chance to, get some, how do I put this, airtime, for lack of a better term. um, well, come on, we can go to my office so we can talk a little more freely. uh, he starts walking, kind of looks to make sure you're behind him.
Yep, I'll follow.
Okay. He walks quite a ways down. As you walk further back, this bookstore is a lot bigger than you actually originally thought. You thought it was a small little place. Um, it seems to be a bit bigger, so it's obviously a lot longer than it normally is. You
There's
see,
a storefront and then a longer area behind it.
yeah,
Okay.
and as you're walking, I mean, it's just books. I mean, books and books galore. You see all kinds of, you know, everything from, you know, any and every book imaginable he has in here somewhere. You can see it's all perfectly labeled. You see, you know, typical science fiction, non-science, nonfiction, so on and so forth. He walks back. You see him get to a door. You see on the door it says Jonathan Arcane. Um, he opens the door. He walks in. Walks over. Please have a seat.
I'll sit down with him.
He sits down at his desk. So, you're local Arthur, huh?
Yes, I've had quite a bit of a following on the with the advent of the web marketing, of course, is what's helped me be successful.
Well, it has helped a lot. It has helped a lot of the authors nowadays. They tend to get the ebooks first, and then eventually go into normal publishing.
Well, that was what worked for me. The ebook publishing is significantly cheaper to launch, and once you've established a revenue stream, you can start looking at hard copy then.
Yeah,
And I established a follower base that way as well. So.
well, that's pretty good. That's impressive. There are a lot of people who put their ebooks out there who don't really get much of a following. I mean, like I said, I try and keep up to date on some of the newer stuff that comes out. Just so I have a general idea, what kind of books do you make?
They're modern fiction, if you will.
Okay.
A lot of the concepts of the supernatural and
Hmm.
kind of an evolution. I guess more of a darker adult take on the classic genres of vampires and werewolves, which had become a little more childish, kind of taking them back to their roots a little more.
Hmm. Interesting. Well, it definitely sounds like something that I could definitely find a spot for. Um, I mean, I can easily set it up if you have if you have some more established books too. You said you've been an author for a while, so I mean, if you have some more established books, I can gladly, I can buy a few in bulk and we'll put them out there, just so that way you have a broader base here. I mean, I do get a range of clientele. So he kind of moves his hand a little bit, and you hear the door close. Now, let's get down to brass tacks. What are you really here for, Kindred?
I'll slide the book across the table, and I said, "Well, number one is Kindred or not, there's still bills to pay."
That's true. Believe me, I know that for a fact. I mean, I'll gladly still buy the books. That doesn't bother me. I just know that when Kindred come visiting me out of nowhere, that usually there's a reason.
Well, there's
You guys
I believe more to you than meets the eye. And I suspect we have a bit in common.
You could say that.
I'll draw out. I'll make it very clear that I'm doing it in a non-threatening manner, but I'll draw one of my daggers and set it on the table, which has the burning blade ritual on it, so it's kind of ghostly green flames flickering along the blade.
Yes, Mom.
And I'll gesture and say, most of the kindred don't understand the finer points of the arcane.
He smiles. That is true, and even then, I mean, no offense, I got to admit that's a nice little blade there. But even then, you guys haven't really tapped into the full potential of the actual arcane.
Well, we are limited by our state of being, but we do what we can.
Oh, believe me, you guys could get much more into the arcane than you think. You've just been led to believe a majority of your existence that type of abilities don't exist.
Well, that would bring me
bullshit.
To the next point, Jonathan, is that I'm an author, but I'm also a blood sorcerer, and there are techniques out there that I don't know, and that even those I interact with don't know. And I have a suspicion that an individual who runs a bookstore such as this, successfully in this region, would have access to information.
That I do.
So then the question becomes, what's the price?
I'll tell you what, I'll give you a little bit of free information, just wet your whistle, so to speak. Let's just say even the magic that you guys wield is nothing compared to the magic you can wield.
Well, I'm sure that could be applied on a number of different levels. And unfortunately, a large amount of the experimentation is locked away in the hermetic labs of another clan.
Not as much as you think. They touch on those kind of things, yes, but see, what I'm talking about is you just think for a second. You see a book just materialized out of thin air. Something more like that.
Well, conjuration is a potent ability.
Oh, that's a simple parlor trick for me. He slides the book across to you. Let you take a look at it. It's a nice big leather-bound volume. When you first start to look at it, it doesn't seem to make any sense. There's all kinds of weird markings and stuff, but nothing seems to make sense. As you stare at it a little bit longer, you see it seems to alter itself into words. You see it says, "The Beginner's Book of Magic." He just looks at you and smiles. I figured you had the
I'll ask him what his price for this particular volume would be.
That? Tell you what, we'll cut a deal. You can have that and learn from that. I want 1,000 copies of each of your book to put in my store.
It's certainly doable. In fact, I can give you a case of the volume on your desk right now.
He smiles, and just so you don't think I'm robbing you, he opens up a drawer, puts down an envelope, see it full of money, just so that way you do get to pay your bills, so to speak.
Well, it always helps. Not everyone's as good at following through on contracts that are verbally agreed on.
Like you, I know we all have to make a living, even with our uniqueness, we still need to survive. Yeah, admittingly, most of your kind uses boons and stuff amongst each other, but really, are boons going to pay the bills?
Well,
I don't think. Well, some boons will, but
that's always the debate.
yeah, Kindred and their politics. You guys are always fun to watch. I'm sure you're curious as to why I keep referring to it as you and Kindred.
Well, I've assumed by this point that you are not a kindred. What you are, I haven't deduced, but certainly not a kindred.
You smile. Well, the easiest way to put it is, I am a vampire. I do drink blood, but I do not classify as kindred.
I see.
Long story. Um, Unlike you and a majority of your kind, I was not created. I was born. Specifically, I was actually born a small, you would call it a dampier. Um, I was born a dampier. When I became of age and finally died, that's when the more, lack of a better term, darker nature came out of me.
I see. Well, there's diversity in all groups, and there are those among the kindred who think otherwise, but even among the creatures of the night, there's a diversity that none of us have even truly explored.
Well, it wasn't by accident. It's not like any particular thing. He looks at you. Yeah, I guess I can tell you. The world as you know it, and I hate to quote a phrase from a movie, but it kind of fits for this. The world you know is just a mere candy-coated topping. There's another world beneath it. Okay, that's end of the quote. I can't stand the rest of that. He just smiles. I'm not from around these parts. And when I say that, I mean I'm not from this planet.
Well, I'm sure the webs woven over this planet extend their strands outward and draw in the spiders of the other worlds as well.
Well, I'm guessing no. But, good enough. Planet I'm come from, we are. I mean, we can create if we want, like you guys do, but. So. How do I put this? Archaic?
Well,
And please, do not mistake anything I say. I do not mean any offense by my words. It's just, I've never been one to beat around the bush, so to speak. I mean, I've tried a little bit, but I really realize I am suck at this. So,
all the more reason to stay out of kindred politics then.
that's what I do. Yeah. But I will tell you that you're not the first one from your group to visit me. Oh, and yes, you probably are kind of trying to figure out which group I'm referring to. And I mean you, your new Tremere friend, your unique Bruja friend, the crazy Malkavian Primogen, and the White Candleman, along with the Gargoyle who tries too hard to play human.
Well, it is a diverse group, and
Most of them are. Actually, I have no problem with your group at all. I just have a problem with what you're being told to do. Well, not right this specific instance, but when you're in that group, that's the problem I have.
Well, there are a lot of questions that run through my mind with that group. But leaving them would not get me any answers, so
Okay.
accompany them I must. And my kind work for contracts, so again, do what pays the bills. Whether those be money or otherwise, not all bills are paid in simple cash either.
That is true. So, I have a feeling you didn't happen in here by chance.
Well, I was directed to your store by another of my clan.
Oh, I didn't think I'd gotten that popular with your group yet.
Well, my clan likes to keep our eyes and ears open, and when we find someone that stands out, a nail that hasn't been hammered down yet, so to speak,
I gotcha.
it catches our interest. And certainly your nature, as it were, your abilities and techniques would be of great interest to not just my clan, but the group within it that I belong to. So, should you find yourself in the possession of any more interesting books, I would certainly be interested then.
Oh, I have a lot of interesting books. That's not a problem.
Well, I always honor my contract, so if there's anything I can do for you, let me know.
Well, as you said, I do tend to stay out of kindred politics. But I thought since you are part of that group and I've already talked to one of your members, I thought it only fair that I extend what I told them to you. I would be very careful about what things you do for Dante.
Well, all contracts must be accepted with discretion, so I'll bear that in mind.
I'm more referring to the fact that he's not who he says he is. Can I prove it? Not yet. But I'm telling you, he is not who he says he is.
That does seem to be a common theme.
There's a reason for it. That's why I'm trying to help you as much as I can. I mean, there's only so much. Oh, screw it. He looks at you. I believe he's one of my kind.
Interesting. Which also makes him that much more dangerous, if you will, because it adds another level of the unknown.
Well, not so much unknown. That's where it's a good thing that if I am correct, I know how, I can help you guys with countering him.
Well, certainly an asset. If not knowing his capabilities makes it harder for us to counter them, and certainly some of them we may not even have the methods to counter, being what we are.
It all depends on how much he's been taught. But I'm pretty sure, and I have no doubts, actually I have no doubts about it, that he is not who he says he is, and that the one he really works for, you don't want here. And I mean on this planet, you don't want him here.
Well, it's all the more reason to address the situation now.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the one he works for is beyond even, it's beyond most of the people that are here's power to handle. that requires a more unique touch that uh, really can't be handled. Actually, can't be handled by anyone, but you can take away his stepping stone. If you take out the people he commands, either take them out by exposing them or getting rid of them, he loses his power base.
Yes, well, there's more than one way to topple a throne.
Correct. The problem is that until there is a suitable replacement for the imposter, if you remove him now, you'll just create a vacuum which will start internal wars. I don't think that's what you want. As much as it would be good for business for your clan, really honestly I have to say I don't think that's what you want to do.
There must be a level of stability to the chaos for us to truly thrive. Well, I thank you for your time. I have a couple other matters to attend to, but certainly you've given me a couple things. I'll tap the book cover to think upon.
He pulls out his card, hands it to you. In case you ever needed to get a hold of me and would like to know some more information. I think I gave you enough to go on for now, but I'm sure I've whet your appetite. If not your appetite, at least those who are higher in the food chain. But honestly, I tend to like to work with the guys that are down on the bottom or middle. Give them a chance to boost up.
Well, certainly appreciate the opportunity, and I look forward to working with you. I'll leave him one of my cards. If you ever have any contracts you need written up, let me know.
Will do. Take care out there.
With that, I'll head out, and I need to. Well, I'll head back to first to my house. I don't want to leave this book laying around. Number one.
Yeah, good idea.
So I'll get it back to my house, secured in my safe room, if you will, my vault underneath the townhouse.
Mm-hmm.
And I am also going to write up a not really a contract because it's something that's already been accomplished, but I guess a quote, if you will, an itemized list of what was accomplished.
Okay.
The 9 infernalists and what the level of involvement Clan S might had in that task.
Okay.
And as sort of a letterhead, I'm actually going to write the verse from the Book of Nod, and I'll actually imbue it with using Asmite sorcery, the Zilla's Litany.
Okay.
So the next person to read it in my site, I'll have existing blood bonds or viniculi ratings would be revealed to me.
Okay.
It's kind of a discreet way of using the Path of Father's Vengeance.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm going to head to the Vox.
Okay.
I'll put in a real nice scroll case rolled up, very formal looking.
Okay. When did you get there? Go through the rigmarole.
Yep. And I'll ask if Dante's available this evening.
One of the guards looks at you. I have no clue. Let me ask. Call Chopper, Mitt. Talks on the radio. I was right. Yeah, he's up in his office.
All right. I'll head up to the office.
Okay. You get all the way to the 5th floor. Knock on the door. Come in.
I head in, bow respectfully. Greetings, Shante. I come this evening with a report regarding the Infernalists. I realize some of the other members of the group may have reported, but it just seemed professional to do so.
You're not.
I'll pull out the scroll and tell him I have on here on my personal letterhead a invoice, if you will, of the items that are the accomplishments or involvements of Clan Asmite in our role in the task.
Okay. He takes the scroll from you. He opens up. He looks at it. Yeah, well, I kind of expect that. All right, well, the deal will still go through. And scroll back.
I discussed with Magnus, who seemed to be acting at least in a leadership role in this group. But I wanted to clarify.
Leader in that group.
Well, he took the lead on this particular role, if you will. But to clarify with you, to what extent do the Justicars and these other group members have authority to enter into contracts with my clan? Not that I would certainly, if I'm involved, I'm already involved, but in such a circumstance, details were not clarified prior to my involvement. And I certainly don't want to bother you with the paperwork.
Well, unfortunately, as most of your clan usually operates, it's mainly required by me that I have to basically hire you, because that's the way you guys set things up, and I actually prefer that. I will have your continued involvement, so any extra deals or any extra charges that you need to add to that list, you can gladly do so. Just keep giving me an updated, itemized list of what the fee will be and the various involvement. I have asked your clan that you at least stick around and assist the Justicars with their operations, as to ensure that no more problems of this type arise again.
If it would be more convenient for you, I could write up, and I don't have one with me, but I could write up a retainer-style contract that would give your Justicars authority to add itemized details as the events progress.
That would actually probably be a lot easier to do. That way, you could keep track of everything that it's going to cost, one way or the other. Money obviously will be no issue. I can easily provide that. If there are more particular things that are going to be required due to the level of commitment or the level of work that you've gone into, then that would probably have to be put separately. Because at least with the money-wise, that's all an accounting thing, and I can give that to my accountants, and they can take care of it pretty post-haste.
Certainly, and that's the advantage of the retainer contract, is that it can simply be a cash-based, and then any outside details can be arranged separately.
Yeah, I was going to say, I don't want to shortchange you. I mean, if there are more things that are required, more unique things that even money can't cover you for, I would like to, pay for the expenses for that, one way or the other.
Well, I'll bear that in mind. At this point, there's not a whole lot. We have a fairly well-established holding I can rely upon. Hence how you came into contact with me in the first place. Should matters get involved that I have to dedicate too significant amount of time, I may have to call upon you for a supply of blood if they interfere with a feeding schedule.
I could definitely get you.
Beyond that, I can discuss with you on a case-by-case should other things come up.
That sounds like a plan.
So,
like I said, just kind of keep me informed of what's going on, so that way I can better
I can
pay you for your time.
can certainly do that. I wanted to stop by in person regarding this one, as it was my first involvement, and discuss details for future, just so we're on the same page.
That's fine.
Wouldn't want any being said of anyone that contracts were neglected.
Oh,
That would
no,
be
I would never assume such with your clan. Your clan has always been very studious about the contracts.
well, I'd be remiss of me to not follow up, and especially as a new member to the city.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if you have if you have no other specific requests, I'll take my leave of you. I don't want to waste your time.
Uh, Meeting with some of my people is never a waste of time, but I got you. It's more I who feel that your time's being wasted here. This is all simple stuff you could have emailed to me for. You know, I mean, I understand. I do appreciate the personal touch, but honestly, you could have emailed this. I wouldn't have been offended or anything, and our emails are pretty secure, so we don't have to worry
Well,
about outside influences.
I'll bear that in mind in the future, but at least until you've worked with me on an ongoing basis, I felt it appropriate that we build our relationship in person a bit. Always good to know who you're working with.
Exactly, yeah. And there's always a good thing to know.
Did I see any indication of blood bonds or viniculi? Or was he able to,
Um, he has no blood bonds whatsoever,
okay.
which is weird because as a child he would have at least had a blood bond with his sire, but there's none.
Yeah, assuming his, I mean, I'm under as far as I know, Cash is still alive, so that blood bond should still exist.
Yeah, I mean, Cash is not dead. Even
He's
the
just
reports that,
removed.
yeah, even the reports that you were given is that he's not dead. He's just removed for now. So
Okay.
yeah, his blood bond would definitely have been there. You don't see a single blood bond.
Okay. Well, that tells me something.
Uh, yes, by the way, John. Um, Magnus, so it's easier. Too many Johns in my group.
That's why I cheat and use the character name for everything.
Yeah, that's why I was using his character name because it's so much easier.
I had nothing else, so I'll bow and then I'll head out.
Okay. Is there anything else you needed to do with your character for now, or is that just basically what you wanted to get done for now?
I think that pretty much covered everything. I
Okay.
now have a book I'll have to read for. That'll be taking up some of Roderick's time.
And I will get you the information for that one too. I'll explain basically what the book he gave you was is actual pure magic. You'll be able to actually now be able to use zero level spells is what they're called. It's basically the D&D. It's going to be the D&D book, which is I'll get you a copy of 5th edition.
Okay.
You'll be able to cast zero level spells. It will, the most for the first little while when you cast them, it will make you feel a little lightheaded, a little woozy. If you cast too many of them, you'll start to feel a bit weak and drained, even though it's not actually using blood. It'll just make you feel weak and drained internally.
Okay, more of a mental strain.
Yeah. And the first and second level spells that you'll have access to will do the same thing, except they'll do it on the first spell you cast. They're a little bit more powerful, so they're going to take a little more to get used to. As you begin, and this is one of those things, like I was explaining to Magnus, this is one of those things that while you're, this can be going on the side when you guys aren't doing the main sessions,
Right.
That's, right after session Thursday night, you could be going back to your house, reading, studying, practicing, stuff like that. And that way, it helps. So that way, when, because I'll get you a list of exactly how you're going to have to put it, because they're unique. But basically, they'll be put under your. I think I'll probably have you just put them under just a miscellaneous category of the various spells you're going to have access to. You'll probably have at least 2 first level spells and maybe 1 or 2 second level spells you'll be able to, keep memorized at all times. But the catch with these is, when it comes to this kind of magic, once you use the spells in memory, you don't forget it, you just have to reread it and, get all the information. And these spells in particular require components, like, bat guano, stuff like that. So
Okay.
have to start finding like unique herb stores or unique stores like that that are going to have merchandise such as this. That's going to be a little more off. So I mean, but that's just one of the other things. It's just something to add to make to make it a little more interesting. So
Certainly.
yeah. Other than that, like I said, I will get both you and Magnus a copy of the D&D Fifth Edition book. It'll be in PDF form, so it shouldn't be an issue.
The the players or the core rulebook one, player's handbook.
I don't remember which one it is. I think it's the core rulebook. Hold on, give me a second.
Yeah, I have the 5th edition player's handbook, so that's
It
not.
might actually be the player's handbook. I have to look real quick.
That was the first one they published with the character classes and all that.
Okay, yeah, then that would be the one. Okay, so you just need to look at that. I will get you a list of, or at least the number of how many first level spells, how many second level spells, so on and so forth that you'll be able to have and use.
Okay.
Yeah,
Perfect.
it is the player's handbook. Okay, so that is the one. Okay.
The other thing that I guess, and doesn't really have to be handled in character, Roderick is going to try and at least get a list of the well-known gangrel.
Okay.
He has a specific request. He wants to learn animalism.
Okay.
And I know one of his group mates knew it already, but he's also going to look at a gangrel outside, as learning an out-of-clan discipline requires a cost. So.
I mean, it's probably easier to learn it from the clan that really focuses on stuff like that. So yeah.
Right.
But yeah, okay, I'll get you a list of the some of the more well-known gangrels. And,
Perfect.
I mean, most of them are going to be in the box because most of them are employees in the box. It's just easier, better cover that way. Everybody's a bouncer at the club.
Right.
All right, so I'll work on getting that to you. I'll try and get it to you before Thursday. If not, sorry, I do have to.
It's not that urgent. It's something that'll be down the line. I just want to get it in motion now, so when I get to that point, it's ready.
Gotcha, no problem. All right, and since that's it, I'd like to say thank everybody for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Definitely stay tuned. There will be more full group sessions, and there will definitely be more side sessions as the weeks progress. Thank you for watching, and